Alright, what we have here is a wah pedal enclosure, and I got this from Dewil, a Finnish shop. They have a web shop too. So I ordered this, received this today, and as we can see, it has, well, all the parts necessary to put it together except jacks and the potentiometer. So everything else should be there. And then for jacks, of course, you can, all kinds of jacks basically will do. But and I do have potentiometer also that should fit this one, and for that 800, and I hope that should be fine. Usually it might be higher, but I wanted a logarithmic one and I could find basically, and this was a cheap one, so I want to try if this 800 one will do, and we'll see about that. And I do of course use buffers on my board, so I would hope there's no issues. And what I want to do with this is actually I'm gonna make a volume pedal out of it, and that's why I chose that one. And not only a volume pedal, but I would also like to use it as an expression pedal. And I would love to do it in a way that if I'm gonna install a stomp switch there, I can stomp on it and it changes from the volume pedal to an expression pedal that will then be hooked up to my cool little vibrato and tremolo pedal that has an expression to control the speed of the effect. And I would love to do it like that because I would want to have that pedal hooked up into this and then to also use it as a volume, so I don't have to take the plug off and, you know, put another one in. So love to have both options available with a press of a switch. And also what I am probably going to do is have a potentiometer to have a minimum volume. And that's pretty straightforward. So yeah, that's what my goal. We'll see if I can get it to work. But hey, first, this rubber thing is also becomes not attached. I could just use glue and put it on there, but I decided I'm gonna go with two-sided tape, and I think that should give a really good stick. So let's just lay that down. And you might notice the enclosure is a bit rough looking. So of course I could, if I wanted to, paint it, do something cool with it. But I might just buff it a bit, so I'll take a fine grit sanding paper. Here's a little strip, and I'll just, you know, sand it. And that I would do that with water actually under this in the sink. So alright, and then let's put it on there. And this is going to be on my mega board build. Yeah, that should stay there pretty good. I don't see it coming off. Alright, then let's take a look at the parts. And I have to say, I have never fully fully taken apart a wah pedal, so we'll see how this goes, you know. And for some reason I would think there should be 3 of those. So let's see. Oh, what are these for? Yeah, I mean, I know these are, but I'm not gonna be using those actually at all. There's gonna be something different for the Alright, those are in place. I superglued those. This one sticks with the glue, hopefully. And then I figured out that one goes like this. But these little washers were not enough. This is the screw they have supplied is a bit too long. And so I figured I gotta put something else between there. And that's what I'm gonna do. And that will hopefully work. Let's see if it does. Okay, yeah, I think that should work. So unfortunately I didn't have anything else to do the job. So I had to use that. Fine. Some leftovers from projects. So good thing they go to use. But yeah, that's a bit of a flaw, I'd say, in this kit I purchased. And then we probably want to have a little washer over here so we can get that tight. Something like this then. Oh. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. It's just gonna be I don't always like doing things the easy way. Oh, okay. So that's what kind of screw do we use there then? Huh. Can't use that. Alright, more information. I actually found a site that had the manual for this kind of thing, and it said to cut those off. I will have the link in the description. So, and then I figured out what to do with this. I don't know if that's meant to go there, but well, I could put it there just in case, but I don't really know why I should need it. So, well, let's keep it anyway. And I used the washers. One of the washers, I think, over there. So, and one was for this. So I need to figure something else out. And then I think that'll go like this. And then in the end, it'll go through there. And it's kept in place with that and it's less wonky. Yep. Alright, and then it's fastened from there. Okay, so we know that now. What do we have left? What do we have left? We don't have much left, I think, to make this, get this working. So I think I can actually attach this, and yeah, of course. Yeah, and it seems like you have to actually, in the end, just tap this. As an expression, because then of course it means we need to get the full range of motion out of this thing. And are we able to? I sure hope so. Otherwise my plan is not gonna work. But then I'll just build a wah pedal instead, alright? That's what I'll do. Don't worry. It's gonna be something cool going on. Okay, one more. Right there we go. Oh yeah, of course I can just do this. So let's try and see if that... Oh man. Yeah, that hole ain't big enough. So yeah, that kind of sucks. Alright, as we can see, this appeared to be much harder than I anticipated, and we can also hear that I need to grease that because it makes quite a lot of sound. Yeah, I had to replace this with the one that comes with the pedal. Then this wasn't long enough basically, so I had to do my own. I used plastic card. That's probably not a solution that'll last, so I'll need to replace that at one point. But I think everything I need is together. Yeah, this one I had to tap in with the hammer, and then I did fasten that. So it's the action is pretty smooth. And now I'll get to, well, put these in place and start to think about the wiring. And that is where the fun begins, I think. So, but let's, for fun. So I'm gonna be using these because these are what I have. So Alright, so there it is. I have that, and I think that should work for what I've done. I had to actually modify that, so, and I've done that before. There's a spring inside, and what I do is I modify that spring, and I have a reason for that. But yeah, feels great, should be working. And now first of all I'm gonna wire this one up with I got a potentiometer, and I'm gonna put a minimum volume on this too. And if I do that, it's gonna be somewhere over, actually on that side probably. And then if I get the expression jack working, that's gonna be over here. So, and then I'll have another one of these just going there, right about, yeah, something like that. Alright, so I'll get to work and do the wiring. And here we are, and everything's working. So I did this 4-pole switch, double turn, anyways, and the final thing I am gonna do is I want to have some sort of LED indication when I change it from the expression to the volume. So this worked out really nice. I'm gonna hook that up over there, somewhere over there, and this is gonna go probably over here. I would need to figure out how my, just to make sure everything fits like I want to. So yeah, I gotta, so I'll probably hook that up like over there. Yeah, right about there will be hopefully fine. Yeah, it looks like it, yeah. Might have to do a little bit of soldering. But yeah, all we need to do, all I need to do is I'm gonna see if I can hook up a LED onto that. So then I know which position this is in. And then lastly, I need to grease that thing. And yeah, everything works as I expected. So that is nice. And now I'm just gonna hook up a LED. I'll probably just put it there. I think that's for LED. So I'll do that. And I gotta drill some holes. And for that I of course have my stepper bit and this little tool and a small, I always start out with the smaller hole. So, but yeah, everything works. I'm happy with this, and it's really great because now it doubles with a press of a switch as an expression pedal and a volume pedal. So, and I will show how that it works at the end of this video. So, all right, and there we have it with the volume control. Yeah, I can't hook up a LED, but I did put one like that just for future if I can figure out something cool. And yeah, that's how it looks like inside. It's a pretty simple thing. I will have the wiring diagram available on my websites, and also links to where you can get this stuff. And I use Theta. Now let's see how it works. All right. All right, and here it is, assembled, working. I had to do a few tricks, and one of them isn't actually so this thing that came with it, that plastic thing, it's a bit loose. So that's something I need to fix. And another thing is getting this back, so I'll have to take that one, the what do you call it? So I'll have to take that out, screw the washers out, so I can get it backwards here and still get it on there with the locking washer. So that's something I'm gonna be doing, and I'm gonna add one and get it closer this way. I will have room. But yeah, that's something. So I'll need to make a little plastic wrap around this thing to make it tight, because otherwise it's gonna be, it doesn't stay in place, so it's gonna be dropping like bleh. And that doesn't work, of course. You want to be able to leave it at a certain position. And then this pot, I'm gonna probably, or I am going to change it. I'll order another one, a bigger one with more resistance. So this was a logarithmic 100K. I'll try to find a bigger one and try that and see what kind of sweep range I can get with that. And also if there's other little tricks I can do to make the sweep range a little bit bigger. But yeah, works. And as you heard, I can do some cool sounds with it, and I do like to do volume swells and play around with it, so I did achieve what I wanted with this. But of course, I think there's a room to improve, so that's what I'll try to do with this. And it's gonna be a follow-up video when I get that done, and we'll see how it works. But for now, next time, something else. I'm off. Bye.